All right, so welcome everyone to class. This is a class on the Economist and Time magazine. We want this to be a fun class. We want you to learn, but also to have fun. So we are going to be doing articles this summer on various different topics, mostly business or science, things that are of general interest. Today I've chosen Elon Musk because I think Elon Musk is of general interest. So just to give you a brief overview, let me just show you here. This is the Time magazine. You'll see different Time magazines. We're going to pick articles from the Time magazine. And the other magazine that we choose from is the Economist magazine. So here is the Economist magazine. You may have seen this already, articles in the different magazines. I choose articles that are recently in the news, and some are about science and some are about business. So it's various different topics of general interest, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Like I say, this is intended to be fun. So what I want you to do, during the class, what I do is we read the paragraph. So read paragraph one. I'll ask for, this being a trial class, I'm going to ask for volunteers to read. In the actual class, everybody's going to get to read, but I'll ask for volunteers. We're going to read paragraph one, and then there's going to be words in there that you may or may know, vocabulary words. If you know, I might ask you what they mean. If you know what they mean, you tell me. But if you don't know what it means, just say, I don't know, no problem. I will explain to you what the words mean. In the normal class, in the regular class, we're going to have homework questions. Since this is a trial class, no homework questions to do, but I'm going to show them to you anyways, just so you have an idea of what the homework questions would be like. Generally, there are 5 questions, 4 are right from the article. All you have to do is read the article, and the answers are right in the article. The 5th will be an opinion question, where I ask for your opinion, and I always value the student's opinion. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Joel. I'm in the Toronto area, Richmond Hill, Canada. I've worked in business for many years for a large bank. For over 25 years, I've been in business. I retired about 5 years ago, and now I'm doing what I like best, which is teaching students such as yourselves. This is what I enjoy doing. So I've been doing this regularly for the past 5 to 6 years. Okay, let me now show you, we'll get into it because we only have a short time. We only have an hour. So we'll go first to show you vocabulary words. So in the article, there's going to be some words you know and some words that you don't know. I'm going to show you 5 vocabulary words. You can look at these, take a picture of them, write them down, whatever helps you best remember it. Some of these words are going to be in the article, and I might ask you what they mean. The first one is probably a word you've never heard before, and that's okay. It's a little bit of an unusual word. It's not an everyday word. It's called pettifogging. It means placing undue emphasis on small details. You probably know people that look at little details and they worry about all the little details. Well, that's called pettifogging. Pettifogging, not a word we use a lot, but it is good to know. The other words you may already know. Number 2 is lackluster. When something is lackluster, it's lacking in vitality or force. So for example, your sports team may be playing and not doing a very good job, and you say, oh, they're playing very lackluster today. Number 3 is baiting. When you're baiting, you're reducing the intensity of something. You might bait a crowd or bait the intensity of a situation, reducing the intensity. Number 4 is impishness, showing a desire to cause trouble to. So impishness is kind of like a childish behavior, and you'll see Elon Musk has been described in this way. He's an impishness behavior. It's somewhat mischievous, causing trouble. And number 5 is bolstered. Bolstered means providing support or strength. So these are the 5 vocabulary words. Have a look at them, take a picture, however you best remember them, in case they come in the paragraph that you read, then you'll know what they mean. Okay, next, let's go with the homework questions. Again, you won't have homework to do this class, but when you join, you'll have homework. So let me just show you an example of what the homework would be for this class. Now, you probably don't know any of these now, but after you read the article, you know. Number 1, how has Musk explained the reason for his bid to make Twitter private? So you'll see in the article, he wants to make Twitter private. You'll read why that is. Number 2, how many followers does Musk have on Twitter, and how have these followers helped him? Okay. Number 3, what is the magnitude of tweets that have been generated by fan bots? You may know what a fan bot is. We'll explain it. 4, how does the article compare his power in building versus his use of Twitter? And this is an interesting comparison that we'll read about Elon Musk, how he builds powerful businesses, but he's very different how he uses Twitter. First 4 questions right from the article. And then I'm going to ask an opinion question. And after reading the article, you'll have opinion about this. Should Musk be permitted to have majority control of Twitter? Why or why not? Some people say yes, he's going to do a lot of things for this. Some people say no, one man shouldn't be able to control Twitter. You'll form your opinion as we read the article. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the article right now. And in this case, I'm going to ask for a volunteer to read the first paragraph. Who would show me by hands who would like to read the first paragraph? Grace wants to read the first paragraph. Okay, so let's get Grace to read the first. While we're here, let's say who wants to read the second paragraph? Oh, certainly someone's going to volunteer. You don't want me to have to choose someone, or should I wait until Grace reads it and then everybody's going to put their hand up? Oh, Vincent? Vincent, the second paragraph. Okay, we've got Grace and Vincent for the first 2 paragraphs. So let's get the article out and you guys will get to read that.
Excuse me, Joe.
Yes.
Yeah, just for boys and girls, you guys should know how to use Zoom, right? There's one function you can raise your hand in the Zoom. For the next paragraph, and you can raise your hand in the Zoom instead of in front of the camera, because Joe
Just like this.
Yes.
Yeah, you just go raise hand. There you go. Grace is showing us how. Okay, so you just look for the bottom where it says reactions, and you can raise hand or you can lower hand. Or if you're happy about something, you can clap your hands, all kinds of things you can do there.
When you have a question, you want volunteer read it, raise a hand in the Zoom, then Joe will buy the sequence, right? From top down, who's the first one? We're gonna go. Okay, keep going. Who's reading? Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna take it out. So you can raise that. It's easier for me to see if you raise the hand like this. But if you choose to raise your hand like this, so it's okay, I'll probably see it. But get used to the Zoom functions. It's a little easier to use that way. Okay, so now let us share the screen. Okay, so Grace has volunteered. Thank you for volunteering, Grace. Now, Grace, before you read the first paragraph, I'm just going to say this is called Musk's Megaphone. The Twitter saga is contemporary capitalism gone rogue. Now, you see a picture here, and this is Musk. Can you describe in a few words, Grace, what you see in this picture? What do you think it is? Can you tell what's over here? In his mouth? Looks like a bird, doesn't it? And the bird represents Twitter, and his tongue is coming out. So this is Elon Musk, and the tongue is coming out, and the bird is representing Twitter, and that's Elon Musk saying he wants to take over. Okay, let us begin now, Grace. And can you just read the first paragraph? I'll highlight it here and just read that paragraph, please. Grace, are you there? Are you unmuted? I don't hear Grace. Okay, Grace, are you there? Okay, did you unmute? Press the unmute, Grace. You're right now, you're muted. So you got to unmute. You know how to unmute? On the bottom left of your screen, it should say mute, and you probably have a cross on it. So click on the bottom left of your screen where it says mute to unmute. Can you do that? Okay, I think we lost Grace. Okay, so Grace, try to figure that out, and we'll get back to you. Vincent, can you unmute? Are you ready to go, Vincent? Can you unmute?
Of course I am.
Okay, great. Okay, so let me get it out, and Vincent, you'll do this paragraph, and then we'll get back to Grace, okay? All right, so Vincent, I will highlight this, and go ahead, please, Vincent.
Ida Tavel, author of an expose of the Standard Oil Company in 1904, described its founder, John D. Rockefeller, as the most successful man in the world. By that, she meant the man who has got the most of what men most want. Okay. These days, Elon Musk fits that description of to a T. Not only is he worth more than God, he invents things that are changing the world, from electric cars to space rockets. A world from him on anything from crypto to meme stocks turned retail investors into slobbery Pavlovians. With millions of adoring fans, he is an idol of modern capitalism.
Okay, good. So now the part where I'll explain it. So this way back in 1904, there was an expose. That means something was written about this oil company, Standard Oil Company, and it described John D. Rockefeller. He was the most successful man in the world. John D. Rockefeller was very wealthy back then. He was the wealthiest man, and he was described as successful. But the author is saying that meant the man who has got the most of what most men want. Interesting way to describe a wealthy man. Well, these days, Elon Musk fits that description to a T. So Vincent, this isn't one of the vocabulary words, but have you ever heard the expression when you say fits to a T? Do you know what that means when you say fits to a T?
Like very close.
Very close. Yes, exactly. Fits very well. So that description that was used for John D. Rockefeller also fits Elon Musk, the man who gets the most of what most men want. Now, funny how they say he's worth more than God. Of course, that's not true, but that's a way of description. He's worth a lot. He's changing the world. You guys know he has electric cars. Do you happen to know, Vincent, the name of his electric car company?
Tesla.
Tesla. Yeah, Tesla. So he's most famous for Tesla, his electric car company. He also has a rocket company. And when he talks, people listen. When he talks about crypto or stocks, people turn into slobbering Pavlovians. I'll explain that. When you slobber, it means, your saliva comes out of your mouth. And Pavlov is a guy who did experiments on dogs 200 years ago. And the dogs would salivate when they got the food. So that's what he means by slobbering Pavlovians. It means people really liked him. And he's an idol of modern capitalism. So people really adore him and they like him for the most part. Okay. So thank you for reading that, Vince. Grace, are you back now? Are you able to read?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. All right, Grace, I'll get the second paragraph for you then. Let me get it out. And while Grace is reading, think about who's going to volunteer for the third paragraph, or else I'll pick someone. Okay, Grace. Let me highlight this with a square. And okay, Grace, you can read the second paragraph, please.
It is also shaper of capitalist traits, and that is where the problem lies. His fashion for Twitter first as the
megaphone
to promote himself and his companies, and now as a plaything that he reckless new
you missed a line. That he has offered $43 billion.
$43 million to buy, is taking the world of business in a reckless new direction. Call it GameStop for
gazillionaires
like last year's craze for the America Games retailer GameStop, as Mr. Musk call it, he promote the idea that the normal rules of investment do not
Apply.
applied. He prints stories of fair play,
Regulators and boards.
regulators, and boards as
Pettifogging. It's a hard word. I'll explain it.
foggy enemies of progress. And he
Idealizes
and
surreal narratives. Some of the words are hard in this paragraph, so I'll help you with it. He idealizes surreal narratives.
surreal narratives all over in comic facts as mischief
Making.
making has
Hitherto.
mostly been confined to the figures of
Fringes of finance.
In his
Pursuit of Twitter.
Mr. Musk is taking it into the
Mainstream. Okay, good job getting through that, Grace. That was a little more hard paragraph, so good job getting through it, okay? Let me explain it, okay? He's a shaper of trends, his fetish for Twitter. He likes Twitter a lot. He has a fetish, he loves it. So he paid $43 billion to buy it. That's what he did a couple of months ago. That's a lot of money, wouldn't you think? $43 billion to buy it. But the deal hasn't been finalized. It hasn't been accepted. So we still even know to this day if the deal is going to be accepted and if he's going to be the owner. So it's like GameStop for gazillionaires. Gazillionaires, it means people that have lots of money. So there was a situation in the stock market where a company was called GameStop, and they were playing games with the stock, and it was going way up, and then it went way down. So the people who control the stock market have to make sure it's fair play. The regulators and the boards make sure that it's fair play. And he looks at those people who wants it to be fair play as pettifogging enemies of progress. Did you happen to note what pettifogging means, Grace? It was one of the vocabularies. Did you know what it meant? If you didn't, that's okay. I'll explain it. It means placing undue emphasis on small details. So Musk thinks, oh, these regulators, they look at all the little details. He says, I don't want to worry about the details. I just want to buy Twitter. So don't make me follow all the rules. That's how Musk is like. He doesn't want to follow the rules. He says, don't look at all the little details. So all this mischief making that he made, it used to be combined to the fringes of finance. So most people weren't like this, but now it's mainstream. It means even the regular people are acting and following Elon Musk in his venture to try to take control of this operation of Twitter. Okay, thank you, Grace. That was a difficult paragraph, so thanks for getting through that. So we had Vincent and Grace. Do I have another volunteer? David. Okay, David. Let's see here. David's going to do number 3. Thank you, David. Okay, let's take it out. All right, David, I will highlight the paragraph for you and you can read it. Starting with he has brought.
He has brought the width of the meme stock to Twitter, not your usual microcap candidate for memeification. Before Mr. Musk revealed a stake in excess of 9% on April 4th, the social media platform was the sort of business attractive only to true believers or contrarians. Its advertising revenue has never come close to its potential. Despite its name recognition, it has been a lackluster investment. Now Mr. Musk has cast his bid to take it private as a move to protect free speech rather than to make money. Presumably, that appeals to his fan base. Day traders are already piling in on his coattails. Their share of Twitter's float has risen from 8% to 13.3%, according to Vanda Research, an investment advisor. Option trading has spiked, as has discussion of Twitter on forums like Reddit's Wall Street Bets. It could just be harmless fun. However, it could also play into Mr. Musk's hands. Individual investors are likelier to support his tactics than the institutional old guard.
Okay, good. So he's brought the whiff of the meme stock. That whiff means smell. So he's looking at Twitter and almost making fun of it, but he wants to make it a meme. So one of the things that Musk has done, he revealed when on April 4th that he said he wanted to take over and buy it. He revealed that he had a stake in excess of 9%. So he already owned 9% of it. Now he wants to buy it all. So it's got there's a name recognition, of course, everybody knows about this, but it's been a lackluster investment. So Twitter people know the name, but it's been lackluster. What does that mean? That was one of the vocabulary words. What does it mean, lackluster? Did you note that word, David?
No, I did not.
That's okay. I'll explain it. So lackluster means lacking in vitality and force. So people know Twitter. It's a good company, everybody thinks, but it hasn't been a good investment. The stock hasn't gone up a lot. Well, now Mr. Musk, he wants to make it private. So when you make a company private, it means you're not going to have shares in it. So a public company, there's shares and people can buy shares of it. But if it's private, it means he would be the owner of it and he would be able to make all the decisions. But he says he wants to make it private. But the reason is he wants to protect free speech. That's what he thinks. He thinks by making it private, he's going to protect free speech, not to make money. Some people say, oh, he wants to make money. But no, he says no. He's doing it to protect free speech. So he says. Now, day traders, those are people that trade in the stock market daily and take chances in it. They're piling in on his coattails. David, have you ever heard that expression? That's an expression we have in English when we say, oh, he's piling in on his coattails. Have you ever heard that before? Do you know what it means?
I'm pretty sure it's like piling in on his coattails is like they're figuring out his like secrets and like what he's doing.
That's partly true. Figuring out what he's doing, but following him. You know, when you pile in on coattails, it means you respect that person and you think if that person's doing it right, well, then that must be a good thing to do. So I'm going to follow his coattails. I'm going to do what he's doing because they think he's strong. That's it, David. Okay. So right now, these day traders, the people that are investing in that stock, are following him. They're piling in on his coattails, and their share of Twitter has risen from 8% to 13%. So people that like him are following him and starting to buy shares of it. So it could be harmless fun. That's what they say here. Maybe they're just having fun with it, but it could also play into Musk's hands. When you play into Musk's hands, it means, okay, Musk is saying, this is what I want. I want people to invest in the company, so it will become valuable when I buy it. So individual investors are likely to support his tactics than the institutional old guard, meaning they will follow him because they respect him. They think, look, he's a billionaire. Let me do what he's doing, they'll say, rather than following the institutional old guard. You know, the traditional, like the old guys who know the stock market and they say, this is what you should buy, this is what you should sell. No, they want to follow him because they think they believe in him. He's a billionaire. Let's follow him, they say. Okay. All right. So do I have another volunteer? William. Okay, William. All right. So let's get William. All right, William. So if you could read the last two lines and then we'll move up. The last two lines here, please, William.
Such tactics reek of
Populism.
Populism. In effect, they seek to diminish institutions while elevating Mr. Musk's own stature as Twitter's
Okay, we'll move up. As Twitter's
savior. That includes baiting those tasked with ensuring that such takeovers are done fairly and transparently. Chiefly the Securities and Exchange Commission, America's market regulator, and Twitter's board. Mr. Musk still publicity. Mr. Musk still publicly beats the
berates them.
SEC over a $40 million settlement that he and Tesla agreed to pay in 2018 regarding a tweet he sent saying he could take the electric car company private. In his recent Twitter investment, a class action lawsuit alleges that he violated an SEC rule by not revealing the stake within 10 days of exceeding 5%. As for the board, since it introduced a poison pill on April 15th, setting penalties if he lifts his stake above 15%, he has hit back. He has tweeted a poll that purports to show his followers are heavily in favor of shareholders deciding whether Twitter should be taken private, not the board. He has not also noted how few Twitter shares board members own.
Okay, so what are we saying here? So the tactics at the bottom, you said reek of populism. So that's appealing to the popular people, the bulk of people. Now, what Mr. Musk, he sees his stature, and here you talked about a savior. He says he feels that he's Twitter's savior. He's going to save Twitter. Okay, so that's how he sees himself. That includes baiting those tasked with ensuring such takeovers are done fairly. Baiting was one of the vocabulary words. Do you remember what baiting is?
No.
That's okay. I will explain it. So baiting, the definition is reducing the intensity. So the regulators, the people that regulate the stock market in the US, it's the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission. They're the ones that make the rules. They say, here's the rules. We got to follow the rules. But Musk, he doesn't like to follow the rules. He's a billionaire. He wants to do it his own way. So he will bait them. He will try to say, okay, I'm going to do it my way. He's going to reduce the intensity of what they're doing. So those that are the regulators, the people that control the stock market, those that are tasked with ensuring that everything is done fairly and transparently, like the SEC, he's the one, he likes to make his own rules. So he tries to come up with his own rules so he doesn't have to follow all the rules. And that can be a challenge for everybody. So Mr. Musk, he berates the SEC. So usually when we use the berate, you know, if you have a little child and he's not behaving, you berate him. You say, okay, you go in the corner, you've done badly, you berate them. Well, that's what Musk is trying to do, berate the SEC. He's saying, I don't think what you're doing is right, because there was a settlement that he and Tesla had back in 2018 about whether he could take the electric car company private, and he had big disagreements with the SEC. SEC makes the rules, but Musk wants to make his own rules. So another thing that he's just done is there's a rule that the SEC, that's the regulators, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they said if you own more than 5% of a company, you have to reveal it. That's one of the rules. So anyone's free to buy shares and stocks of something, but if you own more than 5%, you have to show it. Aha, Musk broke that rule. He did not reveal the stake within 10 days of exceeding 5%. So it's when you buy a company, you have to reveal if you already own a certain percentage. And if you remember early in the article, we said that he owned 9% of it. So he was supposed to tell people that he already owned 5%, but he didn't. So here he is breaking the rules again. He likes to break the rules. So the board introduced a poison pill. Now, it's not literally what a poison pill is. You know, if you take a pill and it's poison, you would die, right? That's the literal meaning of a poison pill. But in business, a poison pill is something different. The poison pill they did is it sets penalties if he lifts his stake above 50%. So what the company did, they found out he has 9%, and they're saying, okay, we're going to put a rule in. If he owns more than 15%, there's going to be penalties. See, because they don't want him to buy it out. So they're setting penalties if he owns more than 50%, 15%. Well, you know, so Musk hits back. He says, well, his followers are already heavily in favor of the shareholders deciding whether it should be taken private, not the board. So Musk is saying, no, board of directors of Twitter, it's not your decision. It's the shareholders. And all the shareholders say, they want me to take it private. So I should listen to them, not you, the board. So you can see how he likes to break the rules. He wants to do things his own way. So the other point he noticed is how few Twitter shares board members own. So the board of directors of Twitter are saying, oh, we don't want you to have full control of Twitter. And he's saying, well, you're not even shareholders. You're board of directors, but you don't even own shares of Twitter. So you shouldn't be able to decide. Okay. All right. Hope that's clear. Now, at any time, this article is a little more, it's got a little more difficult words than many of them. So I try to explain it as I go along. But if you have a question at any time, you know what to do. You put up your hand like this. You say, Joel, I have a question. So if you don't have if your hand's not up, I'm assuming you don't have questions. Is there anything that anybody wants to clarify? Because I'm glad to clarify something. But if you know, if you're able to follow it, that's good. Again, we're going a little more quickly because this is a trial class. So if there's no more questions, then we'll go on. How about Ethan? Ethan, are you ready to read?
Yeah.
Okay, Ethan, let's have Ethan. Okay, so let's highlight the next one for Ethan. Okay, this paragraph, please, Ethan.
So for all this impatience, his tactics also trample on the principle that markets need reliable information to function correctly, fueling the ongoing guessing game about his intentions. He was tweeted a reference to Elvis Presley's Love Me Tender, implying at least to those blessed with meme stock in intuition that he may try to sidestep the board by launching a tender offer to all shareholders. Then again, he may not be serious about buying Twitter. I'm not sure if I will actually be able to acquire it, he said in a TED interview, recorded shortly after he had made his bid on April 14th. For any other suitors circling Twitter, reportedly including two private equity groups, Thoma Bravo and Apollo Global. This could be a stumbling block. While Mr. Musk remains a shareholder, his unpredictability make him a poison pill of his own.
Okay, so for all his impishness. Now, impishness was one of the vocabulary words. Did you note what impishness means, Ethan?
So impishness, I think it means like naughty.
Naughty, yeah, that would be another word to describe it. Yes, naughty's good. The definition we gave was showing a desire to cause trouble, but you're right. If you wanted to describe it in one word, it's naughty. Because remember I said it's like a child. When you're impishness, it's childish behavior. And even though Elon Musk, he's a billionaire, he's been very successful, but in many ways, he's childish. He's very childish. So all his impishness, his tactics, trample on the principles that markets need reliable information to function correctly. So he's like a child, so he doesn't like to follow the rules. He wants to make his own rules. Now, what are his intentions? People wonder, what does he intend to do? Well, he's playing games with everybody. because what he does, he tweeted a reference to Love Me Tender by Elvis Presley. Ethan, have you ever heard Elvis Presley songs?
No.
So Elvis Presley was a famous singer back in the 1950s. And he said one of his famous songs was Love Me Tender. And that was a song he sang. And that what it meant is it was a love song, meaning between a man and a woman, love me tender. Well, tender also has another meaning. Tender, when you want to buy shares, you launch a tender to offer shareholders. So he was playing games with people. He played the song, he tweeted about Love Me Tender, really because he was hinting that he was going to launch a tender offer. Tender has a different meaning here. Tender means when you tender an offer, you are offering to buy shares. But that's how he plays games with people. He says, love me tender, when really he was just hinting that that's what he was going to do. He was going to buy Twitter. And in fact, he did. He put in an offer to buy Twitter. So he made his bid on April 14th. So that was 2 months ago. That's when he put in his bid to buy Twitter. But other people requested to buy Twitter, other suitors. Now, you may not have heard the word suitor. Let's say a man likes a woman. He wants to, you can say that he's the suitor for that woman. He's trying to attract the woman because maybe he wants to date her or marry her. So that's what you call a suitor. You're trying to attract a man, trying to attract a woman. But we can also use it when you're trying to attract a company. So these people that you mentioned here, Thomas Bravo and Apollo Global, they were also trying to buy Twitter. So they are other suitors. So you've got Elon Musk trying to buy, and you've got these other people. So because of the other people wanting to buy Twitter, this could be a stumbling block. So Ethan, have you ever heard the term stumbling block before?
Yeah, like a stumbling block means something that's stopping you from going forward.
That's exactly right. It's stopping you from going forward. Literally, if you tripped on a block, then you would stumble on it. That's the literal interpretation. But you're right. When you say it's a stumbling block, it's stopping you from going forward. So in this case, because other people want to buy the company, this Thomas Bravo and Apollo Global, this could be a stumbling block for Elon Musk. If he wants to buy it, if other people want to buy it, then that could be a challenge for him. Okay, so he is still a shareholder. Remember, he had 9% share. He wants to be 100%. So he is still a shareholder, but his unpredictability makes him a poison pill of his own. Interesting way to term it, right? Because we said a poison pill is something the company would put to stop something from happening. But here the author is saying, well, Elon Musk himself is like a poison pill because he's so unpredictable. Okay. All right. So thank you for reading that, Ethan. All right. Do I have another volunteer that would like to read the next paragraph, or should I choose someone? Volunteer? Do I see a hand up? Surely somebody wants to volunteer, no? Okay. How about Jasper? Would you volunteer for us? Would you like to read? Is that a yes?
Sir, it's me.
Okay, Jasper, would you like to read?
Probably.
Yeah? If you don't want to, that's okay. Would you like to volunteer to read the next paragraph?
Sorry, I think I cannot.
Okay, we'll choose someone else. That's okay. How about you, Kate? Would you like to volunteer? Would you like to read the next paragraph, Kate?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Kate is volunteering. Okay, so let's get it out for Kate. And we'll share the screen. Okay, so let's highlight this next paragraph for Kate. Right over here, please, Kate.
The impression that if you are the world's richest man, you can have fun with the rules of the game is something. Problematic is the idea that Mr. Musk might end up controlling one of the world's most powerful means of communication at a time when fortunes are won and lost on story stocks. Those driven by narratives discussed on forums like Twitter. Mr. Musk knows all about the power of the platform. No CEO has the Twitter presence that he does. He has an army of 82.6 million followers, many of whom have helped amplify his tweets promoting Tesla, making the site in effect the main marketing department for the
$1 trillion company.
$1 trillion company, Tesla, which on April 20th reported record sales in the first quarter, goes from strength to strength. Twitter helped fuel its rise.
Okay, so if you're the world's richest man, then people think, oh, you can have fun with the game, the rules of the game. That's what he's doing. He's having fun with it. But that could be a problem, because what if he ends up controlling one of the world's powerful means of communication when fortunes are won and lost on story stock? So it's a little bit scary, because he's kind of childlike. He's built a strong business like Tesla, but do you want a childlike person to control a company like Twitter? That's what's scary to people. Now, of all the CEOs, the chief executive, there's no CEO, no president that has the Twitter presence that he does, meaning he's always tweeting, tweet, tweet, tweet. He's always on Twitter sending tweets. No CEO tweets as much as he does. What about people follow him? 82.6 million people follow him on Twitter. That's an amazing amount. And they help him amplify his tweets promoting Tesla. So that's what he does. He goes on Twitter and he promotes Tesla, his electric car company. Well, that's a big advantage for him. It means that Twitter is like the main marketing department for his $1 trillion company. That's very handy, isn't it? He can tweet on Twitter to say, Tesla, electric cars, get your electric cars. He doesn't have to pay for advertising. He just does it all. And if he owned the company, that would make it even more powerful for him. So Tesla, which is his main company, had record sales in the first quarter. It gets stronger and stronger. More people want to buy electric cars. Twitter helped fuel its rise. So when you say fuel its rise, just like you have fuel for a car, Twitter helped fuel its rise. It helped make it very strong. Okay, thank you for that, Kate. Did I see a hand up? Was somebody volunteering? I thought I saw somebody's hands up. Oh, Grace? You've already read though, right, Grace? Did you have a question, Grace? No? Okay, Vincent, you have your hand up. Did you have a question? No? Okay, your hand is up.
I
All
just
right.
want to read.
What's that?
I want to read the next paragraph.
Who's that? I can't see who
I
it
want
is.
to read the next paragraph. Is that fine?
Who, Vincent?
Yeah, me.
Oh, you've already read one. I'm okay
okay.
with you reading, but first, is there anyone else that wants to volunteer to read? If not, then Vincent can read. Anyone else that hasn't read yet that would like to read? No? Okay, Vincent, then you can get the next one. All right, so let's share the screen again for Vincent. Okay, so Vincent, let's highlight the next paragraph for you, Vincent, and go ahead from it may.
It may not be just his Twitter fanboys who have voiced the Tesla narrative. According to David Kirsch of the Robert H. Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland, tweets generated fan bots or claims are pro-Tesla algorithms accounted for 23% of all messages on Twitter containing the hashtag LA between 2010 and 2020, or 36,000 tweets. The findings are still under review and do not include comparisons with other firms of fan bots over the same period. But widespread use of fan bots could suggest that Twitter has even greater power to blur out corporate propaganda than previously assumed.
Okay, thanks for reading the second time, Vincent. So let's look at this paragraph. Okay, so it might not just be Twitter fanboys who have bolstered the narrative. Okay, so what it is, they've got here fan bots. So a fan bot is like a robotic tweet. So often what happens with tweets is they're not real people, they're fan bots. So maybe you get a tweet to say, buy Tesla. Maybe that's just an automatic robotic tweet. So we're not sure how many of the tweets are robotic. A lot of them probably are pro-Tesla algorithms. So they're like robotic tweets that say, oh, buy Tesla. The estimate is there that about 23% of all message on Twitter contain the hashtag TSLA, meaning 23%, or about 1/4 of all the tweets, are pro-Tesla. 36,000 tweets, that's a lot. That shows you how much Tesla is using Twitter and how much Elon Musk is using it. Now, they're not sure about these, are still under review, and they have to compare it with fan bots over the same period. But because of the widespread use of fan bots, so many fan bots are used, it could suggest that Twitter really has a lot of power to blare out corporate propaganda. What does it mean when you blare out something, Vincent?
To what's it called? Get rid of. Like,
well, blare
hide.
out usually means when you yell out. So you can yell out your views, like corporate propaganda. So you have things you want to say about your company, in this case, Tesla. So he's going to say all kinds of things about Tesla to promote his company. So Twitter, he has a lot of power with Twitter to be able to do this. Okay, one paragraph to go. Do we have a volunteer for the last paragraph? No volunteer? If there's no volunteers, how about I'll read the last paragraph? I'm thinking you guys would like if I read the last paragraph. Okay, I'll read it. All right, so let's get out the last paragraph. Okay, so let's highlight the last paragraph. And since you guys have worked hard, I'll do the reading for the last one. Citizen Musk. Propaganda is not a word widely associated with business. The world has plenty of reasons to worry about politicians buying media assets to peddle ideologies, less so tech titans. Amazon's Jeff Bezos, for example, is thought to be an arm's length owner of the Washington Post. Mr. Musk is more complicated. What he builds is a world of genius, but when it comes to Twitter, he is often childish and capricious. Imagine if Rockefeller had bought himself the Twitter of his era. He too would have had fanboys, and Tarbell's expose might have been trolled out of existence. So usually we don't think of companies using propaganda to peddle their ideologies. We don't think of tech titans, like a big tech company, to use this kind of media, but he does. And Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon, he owns part of the Washington Post. So he can talk about his company in the Washington Post. Mr. Musk, of course, is more complicated. But what's interesting about Mr. Musk, he's the work of genius. When it comes to Tesla, he's like a genius. He built this amazing company. But when it comes to Twitter, he's childish and capricious. He's like a child, and he's capricious. He's like sneaky, very, very sneaky and childish. And you know, the author's saying, imagine if Rockefeller had been like that, the world would have been very different. Okay, so we're a little low on time here. Now we have a short time here. I don't know if we have time for a video. Perhaps we can do that. I know Michael's going to want to get on here. but let me see if I can just show a little bit of it. And we'll see, because we have, just let's get it out. And if we can, we'll share something. Let me just get something out here. Does anyone have any questions while I look for it? Let's just play a few minutes, just to give you, I'll just play a little short minute of it, just to give you an idea of what we do. I try to share videos in the class. So let's
go to twitter.com to set up an account. Your Twitter name is displayed on your profile and used to help people find your account. A Twitter handle will be created for you automatically and will begin with the @ symbol. You'll need to give this handle to others if they want to mention you in tweets. Each tweet is limited to 280 characters. This includes spaces, so if you want to write a lengthy tweet, choose your words carefully. Below you can see a circle being filled up as you type. This indicates how many characters you have left in your tweet. You can add media to make your tweets more visually engaging. This won't use up any of your characters.
Okay, so that gives you a little bit of idea. Normally I will show more video. I have a video of Elon Musk, but we're a little low on time now. So I just wanted you to get an idea that in the class, we show a video. I would have shown a video of Elon Musk and Twitter. I also show how to use Twitter, but that's what we do in the class. We show videos, we do vocabulary words and read the article. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you decide to join the class. I'll open it up to Michael if Michael wants to make some comments now, or